Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat the designer, John Jurko. We're fired up. It's football offseason, but a lot of comments from the GM, a lot of comments from the owners' meetings that I thought were a little bit interesting. And one interview that Ryan Poles did yesterday, I thought could be talking about the possibility of going after a big chip early on. We got to talk about that. Jurko watched some Tyler Warren tape, so I want to get his evaluation on that and do a little who do you trust? Little game EO came up with. I like the who do you trust
Who
game.
do you trust?
All that and more on today's episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Good kid, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I got no issues. It's warming up.
It is warm.
Golf season is around the corner. I've got some vacations planned around the golf in May and June. So it's got some real nice stuff happening.
Now, you are a warrior, Jurko. I've been meaning to tell you this. I've seen you a couple times here. On days when it is cold outside again, because Chicago will turn back.
It can.
You're still rocking the shorts.
Well, once March 17th comes along, as is my commitment year in and year out, the minute St. Patty's Day comes, the shorts go on. They never come off until after Thanksgiving.
Have you had a regret
And then we'll
day?
put the not this year.
Not
no,
this year.
Not
Okay.
one regret day. And remember, my walk is from my garage to my truck.
Yeah.
Drive here to the parking lot. I got a half a block walk to the security door, and then I'm inside. So what am I really doing?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it could be 0 degrees outside, and I wouldn't have any regrets. So I'm not really doing that much. All I'm doing is I make that commitment on St. Patrick's Day, and I make the commitment for after day. There have been times I wore shorts in December. Been beautiful days in December.
Yeah.
Played golf a couple of years ago in December. It was nice enough to play golf. You play golf.
I'm not mad at it.
I'll wear shorts most of the time. Now, when I get to the golf course, it's a little windy out there. So I've got rain pants that I'll throw on if I'm a little bit chilly.
Oh.
And I've got some long slacks, as I like to call them. Slacks that I'll wear out on the golf course when it's a little bit chilly outside. I'm not against that.
As Scar once said, be prepared.
That's right.
Hey, we do got
And the Boy Scouts.
And the Boy Scouts. Well, I guess you could attribute it to them probably more than Scar.
Yeah.
But I was a Disney kid. Do gotta let you guys know the Chicago Bears podcast brought to you by the Advantage Dealer Group. Find your next Chevy, Toyota, or Acura and drive off in under 60 minutes, or they'll make your first car payment free. It's also brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana, located 30 minutes from Soldier Field, I-80-94, exit 6. Jurko, who we talking about?
Yeah, hold on. And we talk about Mitch
That's
Lyons,
what
our
I'm
good
talking
buddy, MitchLyonsWealth.com. He's a former NFL player. Him and I chewed some dirt together out there, had some fun against each other. He was a tight end. I was an interior tackle, so I don't think he ever cracked me upside the skull. But today's stock market, what is it? It's down 1,400 points today, down 1,400 points. Some would say, a little bit more than 3% is what the market is down. And guess what MitchLyonsWealth.com does for you? It gives you a game plan for retirement where you don't have to worry about the ups and downs of the stock market, okay? Where you're not worrying about how tumultuous it is, because we all know what's happening now. We're positioning ourselves well against foreign entities and foreign countries with these tariffs, and things are going to be a tad bit turbulent. And if you want to protect yourself and have a great game plan for retirement, it's MitchLyonsWealth.com. I got a phone number up here too, I believe. No, I don't.
No
but that's
website.
fine. It's your best game plan to protect, grow, and win retirement. MitchLyonsWealth.com. And don't worry about the market going up and down. It happens. Market corrections happen all the time. And if you've got a stock market that's high was 44,000, the right correction would get you back below 40,000. I don't know if we're there yet. So what are we worrying about? 20%.
He knows everything.
20% is when you got to be concerned.
Everything.
But it goes up and down, up and down.
It's literally
But
nothing.
historically, if you look at the stock market, you'll see a stock market that starts there and goes to there.
Yeah.
So what do you have? A nice climb historically. You break it down in the micro, you're going to find some stuff where there's some precipitous drops. But in the macro, and if you're a young investor, you get into invest for retirement, you don't really worry about it. You sit and hold for an extended period of time, and or follow the advice of Mitch Lyons.
Follow the advice of Mitch Lyons.
There
I
you
like
go.
it. I like it. What an ad read. Mitch Lyons is
That's a
getting
good
well
one.
what he's worth out
That's
here.
right.
I love it.
That's right.
Let's talk a little bit of football here, good kid, because Ryan Poles made some comments on Adam Hogue and John's podcast where it sounds to me as if he's saying, hey, we're not ruling out the possibility of going after a big piece here because we don't want to be here again. What he said on the show was you're looking at it at multiple ways. It's short-term, it's long-term thinking. Two things. It's, there's certain positions like a premium one where it's not guaranteed you're going to be in a spot to get one of those players. So if we end up with a surplus, then let's just figure it out after that and compete, and the best guy wins. If a young guy has to wait, then he has to wait, or other things could happen where the guys that are currently in those spots get opportunities for other teams. So there is a lot of different options that could pop up. Now, good kid, when you hear that, where does your mind go? Do you feel like Ryan Poles is saying, I'm willing to be aggressive in this draft if there's somebody that we think is at the top of this draft that changes our team?
Well, let's identify who they might think about. The defensive end out of Penn State.
Yep.
The defensive tackle out of Michigan.
Mason Graham.
Yep. And then I think that's about it.
When I heard that last part, Jurko, where he's like, if we get guys in here and they maybe have to wait or hold on to some things, I thought about the possibility of Armand Membu, who does play right tackle, and there's a current left tackle in that spot already, to where, hey, you might have to learn this position. You might have to wait a little while, but it's going to be your job.
Yeah, that's not what I get.
Okay. From
that commentary. I don't feel it. I don't get that. The other part of that comment, you talked about younger players going to have to wait.
Yep.
You've got to play to the level of the position. If you don't, they're going to bring in a veteran guy to try to improve the position for now, while they be patient enough to let a young kid develop over the course of time. That sounds to me like Booker. That sounds to me like Daniel Hardy.
Yeah.
That's who that sounds like to me. And I've seen it happen. I've seen Chimura, who was on the cusp of breaking out with the Green Bay Packers, and have to wait a little bit because they brought Keith Jackson in. I saw him give up on Jackie Harris, who went down to Tampa Bay, and Chewy was sitting there waiting to take over, but he had to wait because they brought Keith Jackson down there. So, I mean, general managers are going to want to say, hey, is there somebody available or somebody out there that I can put in here that I know is going to bring a quality of play and a certain level of professionalism to the position that would make us better in the short term,
right,
while the young player still develops and maybe becomes a long-term answer for us. So I can understand what Ryan Poles is saying there. The defensive tackle position in the middle, right?
Yep.
Say if he goes up and he gets Mason Graham, and I got Grady Jarrett there, and I just brought in Doyo kid or Doyo, whatever his name is.
Yep.
So I got Grady there, and I got this there, and I got that there.
Billings still in place.
Billings in play, and then the other kids in play too.
Devon Dexter.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you take a look at that and you say, well, maybe we're going to go up, we're going to get Mason Graham, and we'll just throw it open. And then Grady Jarrett, we brought in here, we paid him some money, and now we're going to put it into play. It's always a rotation at defensive tackle.
Yeah.
So you're a little bit safer there. When you go to the offensive line, if you're starting offensive lineman, you play every play of every game, as long as you remain healthy.
Yep.
So it's different at different positions. If you go to defensive back, you could always play nickel and dime. So you're going to have a guy that's going to play an extended period of time, even if he's not one of your top two corners. You're still going to have a chance to get some experience for a young player if that's the direction you go. So, tight end, I don't know what they plan on doing at tight end. The number of different positions, the pass rusher opposite of Montez Sweat is an important position. So we'll see. We'll see what he plans on doing. I myself would never trade up.
Yeah.
I'm always a guy that's willing to trade down if I have the ability to identify talent, and I see that the talent later on might be as good, if not better, than the talent up there. If you can see it with your eyes, and the grade on the kid is going to, you can wait on a guy and you think that maybe he projects to be a little bit better than the guy that's going early, the guy that everybody loves. Then you go ahead and you slide back and you acquire some more picks and you make something happen for yourself.
If you can trade up in that top, I would say probably 4 to 8 range. I think your top 3 are standing pat. And
if you're going to 4, you're giving up a lot.
Yeah.
If you go to 4, you're giving up that second rounder, 39, and you're giving up the third rounder if you're going all the way to 4.
Right.
So would you be willing to do that? Are you willing to lose that for something up there?
Well, that was the thing is,
I don't know.
If you give
I
up,
see him moving 10 to 6 where you're giving up just a 3rd round pick.
right.
I mean, second round pick. Yeah.
If you give up that much, does that guy have to play though? Is that one of those like, hey, you got to be on the
that
field
guy
immediately?
eventually has to be a contributor. You're moving up that much. That's a guy that's got to be able to play for you for 10 years at a very high level. That's what he's got to be.
But he doesn't have to be out there playing and play out for you rookie year.
No, but he's got to be a guy that's going to be a contributor for 10 years.
Yeah. It's we've heard so many different things. I know I don't know if you've taken a look at the over the cap chart where it's, it tells you kind of the draft points that you can get and what each pick costs and stuff like that.
That's the Jimmy Johnson table.
The Jimmy Johnson table. Seems like the values are a little bit less this season where it can cost you less to move up. Basically, for the equivalent of that 4th round pick, you could trade your 1st and a 3rd and move up. But I don't know if I see that as a reality, especially if there's a player as special as Abdul Carter who may end up falling to that 4 spot because either the injury or just the need on quarterback.
Well, we haven't seen the quarterbacks go crazy yet. Not like last year.
I'm not a fan of either.
Not like last year.
Shedeur, but
they had 6 quarterbacks going, top 15 last year?
Yes.
6 quarterbacks. I don't see the run on quarterbacks this year. Cam Ward, and then eventually Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart. Maybe at some point somebody might need him. Somebody might need some depth. I mean, Pittsburgh maybe back wherever they're at. But if you're not a believer, 100% believer, and the guy's going to be able to come in and be a starter, I mean, it's not Ben Roethlisberger when you look at Jackson Dart. So, I mean, I think they were happy when Ben Roethlisberger was falling. Ben wasn't happy, but Pittsburgh was.
Yeah.
Then he became their starter for an extended period of time. Had a Hall of Fame career there, but the Bears,
can they afford
find
to
themselves
give up that cap?
in a position? I'd never want them to be in a position where they're giving up draft capital.
Yeah,
I don't want that. I don't like it. I don't like it when he goes. I don't like it when he goes out and he trades for guys or for veteran guys. Let him get in there and pay for them.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I don't get it. Unless you're not confident in what you're doing on draft day. Unless you're not confident in what you're doing on draft day. Then I get it then. Now I get it. I'm going to use that to bring in veteran players at certain positions. Because what did we get out of Keenan Allen?
Safety net that didn't do enough.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You got nothing out of him. You brought him in here to offense where the quarterback wasn't complete yet. The quarterback was trying to figure it out. You put him with an offense coordinator and with a head coach, Matt Eberflus, that was bad. Unfortunately for the Bears, he was bad. And so the 4th round pick, it just went. Phew.
Well, if eventually, whenever he does sign, I believe you get one back.
I mean, the one thing
you get a comp pick back for Keenan Allen signing.
Yeah.
So
he hasn't signed yet.
He hasn't signed yet. He's just talking about recent tweet or recent Instagram post. He talked about going back to LA and being with the Chargers again. Yeah. I would assume he said he only wants to be in Chicago and in LA. May have to take a discount, or I guess maybe the end of Keenan Allen's tenure in the NFL.
I guess what? I mean, 70 catches last year for like 735 yards.
Yeah.
And
a lot of drop touchdowns.
But congratulations to him. He still was paid.
Yes.
I mean, that was great for him. But, those days getting paid what you were getting paid are over. Tyreek Hill had a miserable year last year. Especially if you're a fantasy owner, you know exactly the guys that had miserable years. The year before, Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen, before they got injured late in the year, dude, they were dominating the NFL.
I took Bijan first overall.
A year later, what do you have? A year later, you've got 2 guys that you got question marks about, and it's unfortunate. And I've got them on my dynasty team. So
oh, no. You got the dynasty?
I'm going to try to move them.
Yeah.
That's all I can do, try to move them for something.
Is there a
see if I can. It's great that it's a deep year. It's great that it's a deep year for running backs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got some stuff you can add. You got some capital you can add.
That going for me. But the Bears are going to make their choices. I'm not in the business of predicting what the Bears are going to do or not going to do. I'm in the business of reacting to what they do.
Yeah.
Maybe giving some advice only on positions, not individual players. So, my advice to them would be to, looking at it now, if Will Campbell's gone, if Mason Graham is gone,
yep. Abdul Carter probably will be gone.
Abdul Carter will be gone.
Yeah.
It's the move out of there.
Is there
Will Campbell? I said Will Campbell, right?
Yes. Yeah.
If those guys are gone, then go back. Somebody might, be hopping for somebody up in that position. Move back, acquire yourself another second or a third rounder. Sit and assess, sit and take a look at it on what you may or you may not want. I mean, you never know. Draft day, people go crazy. I watched Draft Day.
The movie?
I saw Kevin Costner handle it. Make magic happen.
I want my
day.
picks, you pancake.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
One of the wildest lines was just like, what?
Yeah.
All right, he did enjoy pancakes.
He was feeling himself at that point. No, but create some magic. If you want to move up, fine. That's what you're going to do. Let's just make sure we get ourselves a stud.
Is this the draft?
I don't have a lot of angst.
Yeah.
Unless the pick doesn't work out. And now I'm upset.
And you got angst, yeah.
Now I'm upset. You gave stuff away. You went up for this guy. You brought him in and flopperuno. No good.
Is this the draft for that though? Because how people keep describing this draft, even how Ryan Poles described it at the owners meeting was, basically from 10 through 60, you're getting good talent.
Okay.
Is this the draft that people are going to be champing at the bit to get?
So my question to you is then, which draft has had the most Hall of Famers and how many? Which draft?
83?
1983 had 8 of them, I believe. I believe there's one that had 9, right? So there's also a year that nobody, I'm not talking about in the last 5 years.
Yeah. No,
there's a draft. There's a draft that had 0. Nobody has made the Hall of Fame out of that draft. It might even be 1991 or 92, somewhere similar to that. So it's either 8 or 9. 83 is a great year because I think 8 guys went to the Hall of Fame, including Richard Dent. But
let me see. NFL draft with most Hall of Famers. 1964 Jurko.
Oh, that's right. How many?
Produced 10.
There you go.
Bob Brown, Charlie Taylor, Carl Ehler, Paul Wolf.
Carl Eller from
Paul
the Minnesota
Warfield,
Vikings.
Mel Renfro,
Houston Oilers.
Paul Krause,
Minnesota Vikings.
Dave Wilcox,
San Francisco 49ers.
Bob Hayes.
Bullet Bob Hayes down at Dallas Cowboys.
Roger Staubach,
Cowboys.
Leroy Kelly,
running back from Syracuse.
Cincinnati.
Ooh, Bengals?
No, we're running back from Cincinnati.
Okay, there's another Kelly that came out of there. Where did he play?
Leroy Kelly
10, beautiful. 83 was second, though, right?
83, I believe, is second, yes.
Yeah, so, but the point is, what do you expect out of a draft?
Yeah.
You expect 8 or what the norm is, 4 or 5. And that one, that 64 was, remember when they put in all the guys that they forgot?
Browns for Leroy Kelly.
Yeah, Leroy Kelly, thank you.
And the Chicago Fire, 1974.
Remember? I remember the Chicago Fire. Yeah, they played at Soldier Field. But the point is, what do you expect out of any draft?
Right.
Your average is only 4 or 5 Hall of Famers coming out of any draft. So your challenge is to find talent and put them in a position to win. That's all you can do. So when they say an impact draft is you get guys out of the draft that can play.
Yeah.
And that contribute on Sundays. And guys that have 8-year careers. That's what you're looking for. A nice, solid 8-year guy. Lance Briggs, Peanut Tillman.
Yes.
That's what you're looking for. Guys that can come in and play solid for you. Chris Valerio, his offensive lineman that came in here. Olin Krutz came in here as a 3rd-round pick. That's what you want out of a draft. You want guys throughout the draft, 7 rounds that you have, 8, 9 picks. You want guys to come in and be impact players. That's all you can ask for.
I've said this draft feels very much like, and I don't know how much you remember the 2016 draft. That was the one that had Ezekiel Elliott in it. But it just had a ton of – the quarterback class was not great. but you've got Joey Bosa in there. You've got Jared Goff and Carson Wentz in there, who Jared Goff ended up turning into something. Kenny Clark is in that draft. Derrick Henry's going in the second round of that draft. That's how this draft feels to me.
Yeah. All right. And that's fine. Get guys that can produce.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not worried about the whole draft. I'm worried about the Bears draft.
Yeah.
That's what I care about. I care about the Bears. Whether somebody else gets good players or not, I don't give a rat's ass. I only care what the Bears are doing and how good the Bears are.
100%.
That's what I look forward to. I'm not watching what the Packers do and, geez, what did the Packers didn't do anything in free agency. They're saving their money, and they're going to get guys in the draft. Good for them. Jacksonville might get Mason Graham. Good for Jacksonville, former team. I mean, the year they went out and they got Big John Henderson and Marcus Stroud, they settled their defensive line for 10-plus years down there in Jacksonville. And it was the absolute foundation of everything they did as a football team. That's the kind of draft I want.
Yeah.
Get some key foundational pieces in here, and let's watch these guys do it for 10 years. That's what you want. That's what you look for. So that's what I look forward to.
Feels like there might be a lot of those.
Trade up, trade back, stay at 10. It's your decision. But whatever you do, you got to find players.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Got to find players that can impact the game. I don't want punters. I don't want kickers. I don't want any long snappers. All right? It's all simple.
Our punter's below running back on the draft chart for you. Below running back on the draft chart.
Still puzzles me last year. Like he thought a punter was going to do something for him. And he drafted 2 punters in 3 years. Well, what are you doing?
He did. Trenton Gill.
What in God's name are you doing?
Trenton Gill, sixth round pick.
That's my point. He doesn't like to draft.
Yeah.
That's why he gets rid of the picks.
He doesn't see the value in them.
He must not.
That there should be.
He must not.
Because he's more willing to go for the player that has shown you something than the guy who hasn't shown you.
As the GM, you're reliant now upon your scouts. He was a scout himself. To be able to find talent. You ever see guys go out like at these all-star games and they're just kind of looking and they don't know what the fuck they're looking at?
Yeah.
They have no idea how to identify what a quality offense
but they stand there like this year.
Yeah, they stand looking and make comments. You know, hey.
I like that.
And but they're trying to figure out from other people what is and what is not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're trying to figure it out themselves. What makes this guy good? What doesn't make this guy good? I've seen it. I've been around NFL people for an X amount of years. Some talk and you can see what they're looking at. And you see what they got.
Yeah.
And other guys are just collecting paychecks, trying to fool them for another year. And that's what I worry about. I worry about people that are trying to fool people for another year.
What's the move, good kid? Where it's like, I saw that too. What did you see though?
Yeah.
What did you see?
Like that? They throw a generic thing. Boy, did you see the way he engaged? Whoa, I'm telling you. When and it's still the greatest. It's still the greatest line. We got LaShawn Johnson in the 3rd round. He's been in the news.
Uh-huh.
And I talked to a Green Bay scout, old guy, been there for a long time. And I said, "What'd you guys like about him?" And he said, "Well, he's a very productive player in college," which he was. LaShawn was very productive in college. He goes, and he had a southern drawl. He goes, but his only problem was he couldn't juke a tree stump in a 10-acre field. So he had no shake. He had no movement. And he was right. He was 100% dead on balls accurate. Now, it didn't mean that LaShawn wasn't able to play like 6, 7, 8 years in the NFL. He did. He went to the New York Giants after he left the Green Bay Packers. But he was dead on balls accurate about what he was about and what he could and what he could not do. And, that guy made me laugh every time I'd see him. I'd ask him about somebody. He'd come up with some shit. It was fantastic.
Juke a tree stump
in a 10-acre field.
In a 10-acre field. Yeah.
And that's how the scouts used to talk. They used to have all their things that they used to go to, when describing a player. And then you can't get away from knowing exactly what the hell he thought about the player.
Yeah.
But again, LaShawn, straight line runner, hit the hole hard. And, his movement and his shake came off when he got hit. Somebody hit him, knocked him off, and now all of a sudden it looked like he made a move. He didn't make a move. He just got hit. No, So that was fun. But
I love
hopefully, I'm a Bears fan, so I hope Ryan Poles gets all the wisdom in the world. I hope he's got enough guys around him that are smart, good, solid scouts that can give him the feedback that he needs to make the right decisions come draft.
We know he does in the DB room. Whoever the DB guy is, give him a raise.
Yep.
He needs more money.
And listen, everybody wants to give up on Tyreek Stevenson.
No.
I am not giving up on Tyreek Stevenson.
He's my
guy. This is my guy. Tyreek Stevenson is going to have a rebound year, and he's going to make Chicago proud of him.
I think
he's my comeback player of the year after they tried to ostracize him.
Well, I mean,
they put a scarlet letter on him last year.
He did it to himself.
And they wanted him to feel shame the rest of the year. He did it to
himself.
No, he made the mental mistake himself, but then they wanted to go, oh, it's your fault. Everybody got on the other side and said, oh, it's his fault. All the players too. It's his fault. It's his fault. Jeez, are you going to have his back or what the hell's going on? Sure, made a mental mistake. He engaged with the fans. What are you doing? It's idiotic. You don't want to do that. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on the task at hand. Yeah, we all know that. Hopefully he uses that as motivation all off season. He comes back in a little bit more focused. That's all.
I think Al Harris is going to have him whipped into shape. I'm excited about that one.
I hope so.
You got to watch tape on Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
What'd you see from Tyler Warren? Because there's been a lot of talk that the Bears may be interested in a guy like him.
In the second round, third round, fourth round, maybe.
Oh, wow.
He's a taller Cole Kmet.
Oh.
So, I mean,
that's good. That's a good tight end. It's a good tight end. It's a good tight end. It's not an upgrade, but it's a good tight end.
You wouldn't want to take him in the first round, that's for sure. He doesn't fight the football the way Cole Kmet does. So, I mean, he catches the ball better. Remember, Cole Kmet used to get it, and then he'd mash it around his forearms and shoulder pads and stuff. So he's a little bit better in that regard than Cole Kmet, but he's just a taller guy. I watch him play, where the fluidity doesn't come to mind. You see some guys move and they move fluid, they find space, they do this. I don't necessarily see that with him. Could it be developed? Maybe. Could you find that space with a little bit more experience at the NFL level? Maybe. But that's not what you take at 10. You don't take that at 10. Now he's 6'6", he's 256 pounds. I'm sure he can block. I'm sure he can engage.
I was gonna say, I don't think he's taller than Cole Kmet.
Yes.
I think Cole Kmet 6'6".
Nope.
Cole Kmet 6'4".
Nope. 6'4".
6'4" for Cole Kmet.
This guy's 6'6", so he's taller. But that's it. He's a taller version of Cole Kmet. Hey, is anybody overly satisfied?
I was gonna say, I thought Kmet was 6'6". You're not buying it?
I don't buy it.
You're not buying it? Cole Kmet is one of those people that walks into a room and he takes over the room.
Does he?
Like the presence of him is like,
I wish he could take over the tight end position. I wish he could have a good relationship with his quarterback.
That is what I was going to say. And
a lot of things I wish could happen.
That's my question, because he was catching the football at a 94% clip when Caleb was targeting him early in the season. And then it seemed like the targets went away. Was that more on the relationship, you think? Was that more on the coaching, scheming him out of the play? Or
Tommy Waddle simply said to me, he's open, he looks at him, and doesn't throw him the football. I've been in the locker room for 10 years. You're open, you get looked at, you don't get the football, there's a problem. There is a problem. And listen, I don't know anything happened. I don't know that there is an issue or there isn't an issue. I have no firsthand knowledge. You watch the film, and if the football's not delivered to an open guy, there's a problem. And it's not just the tight end's problem. It's the quarterback's problem.
Yeah.
So that whatever issue there is, that needs to be mended and it needs to be fixed. Because as a quarterback, you decide where the football is going to go. And if you pass somebody up because you're just not feeling it, that's not good for the offense.
Was the problem kind of what Thomas Brown said, go be Superman? He was looking for the home run play too often, though? Because I feel like that's where Caleb didn't try to throw a lot of safe passes early on. He tried to chuck it down the field and hit the deep guy. And a lot of times he overthrew that guy.
The quarterback philosophy is, early on you take the gimmies and you take the bunnies. Take your gimmies, take your bunnies early on. You're going to have chances and you're going to have time to take your shots. And, sometimes it's designed when you come out. You want to stretch the field. You want to get the defensive backs on the back foot. So there's times you might want to go ahead and strike downfield early.
Right.
But when you game plan, you look at a defense and the defense plays conservative early on because they don't want to give nothing up. Then you know that going into the game, so you want to take advantage of the cushion that you're going to get early. Then you force them to move up. You force them to kind of, okay, we got to change a little bit. And then that's when you can take advantage of people deep. It's nothing worse than getting 3 balls completed on you as a defensive back or a slot corner, and you gave too much cushion. You start to squeeze that up, then you get beat on a double.
Right.
Double move, and all of a sudden now you're like looking in the backfield, the quarterback pumped, and you're like, where's my receiver? And he's 6 yards behind you running free. So, there's time. There's time for that.
You're going to have those moments.
You're not throwing 12 bombs a game. Nobody throws 12 bombs a game. You're throwing about 3-4 a game tops. And it's because of something that you've seen at the line of scrimmage where he's an option, And we always had Mike used to come to, we'd be on the sidelines. Favre would be on the field. We were here at Soldier Field on the 1 yard line. And Mike calls a play with a slug home. Donnell Wolford's in coverage. You might have been a youth if you were around in 1994.
I was born, Jurko.
Or 95, 94, 95.
I was 1.
And he looked at the defense and he goes, we got it. He goes, it's going to be there. There was no communication with the quarterback, but it's like he's talking to Brett.
Yeah.
He says, we're going to have it. He goes, we're going to have it. He goes, it's going to be there. And that's what he did. I don't know. I think they were playing cover 2. He was lined outside wide. Might have even been a cover 3. But he went up, he slanted in, and Brett pumped it and gone. And Wolford went to jump it, middle deep safety. So it's cover 3 probably. He's supposed to stay as deep as we gambled because we're on the 1. He thought we were just going to try to get off the
ball
line. Just get off the goal line. 3-step drop, get it off the goal line, quick slant. He had him beat. He had everybody beat. 99-yard touchdown. But you call those when you have a feeling, and when that's when you call it. It might have been our only long ball of the day. We may not have thrown another long ball the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get chances to go home run every single time. Sometimes you got a nickel and dime him, and then you get a receiver that breaks the tackle, and all of a sudden it turns into a 65-yard play.
Yeah.
That's
Drew Brees made the Hall of Fame off of it. I'd love to see Caleb Williams do some of those same things.
Yeah, nice.
I think there's going to be a lot of changes this year, Jurko. For the sake of time, we're not going to do the final topic, but I will ask you one question.
No, go ahead.
Where's your trust level right now? Let's do a 1-star through 5-star on Ryan Poles heading into this draft.
2.5. 2.5. I think they begrudgingly extended his contract just because there was a lot of criticism out there. So they gave him an extra year off of the year that he had left, or however it works.
I was going to say, did I miss a contract extension on Ryan Poles?
Oh, no. They did. Everybody asked. Everybody's been talking about it. I think it's 1 year. I mean, that's what I believe they did. I think they begrudgingly did that. They don't talk about it.
Yeah.
They don't report on general managers' contracts. So that's fine. Whatever. I feel like that's what they did. So they've shown a little bit of confidence in him. 2.5. That's what he gets.
Hasn't done enough for you to be the Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze picks don't do it for you, because I think that's a lot
Not
of
yet.
What's putting people over.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. I think it'll be fine, but what happens on the field? Remember, he's in charge of coaches.
Yes.
He's in charge of all that.
Yes.
He's the general manager. He's the guy that's in charge. And when they lose, the coach gets fired.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the criticism doesn't go upstairs. The criticism most certainly goes upstairs too, because he's the guy doing it. So now he's got Ben Johnson in. Now Ben Johnson's got to go out and he's got to be able to produce. And they brought in some players, and now they're going to bring in some more. And then it's Ben Johnson's the guy that's got to go put it all together.
Yeah.
He's got to mesh. What does he get? What does he get negativity? Why 2.5 stars? You saw what he did.
Well, third round for me is 2.5
Claypool. No, you saw what he did with Claypool. You saw what he did with Valus Jones.
Yeah.
At what point do you cut bait on a player? Just cut the line.
Got a pick offered for
him. The lure might have cost me $100, but it doesn't matter. Cut the line is what you've got to do.
Yeah.
You could have gotten something for him. Instead, you got nothing.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, the Hard Knocks was an embarrassment for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
You go back and look at that, and then Put the lowlights of the season next to that.
Yeah.
Oh, they'd go hand in hand like one beautiful symphony.
My biggest issue, I said this when we were doing the Hard Knocks Live broadcast. You ran Caleb Williams out to Michael Jordan's music. You can call it the Chicago Bulls music all you want. We know whose music it is. You know what kind of star you're putting on his back.
What's it sound like?
And now the starting lineup.
You're talking about Ray Clay.
For your Chicago Bulls.
You're talking about Ray Clay.
100%.
Yeah.
But let's be real. You hear that music and you think of one guy.
Yeah.
You think of Jordan.
You're not thinking of five guys.
Yeah.
The way you gave it to me there, I didn't know who the hell you were talking about. But when you said the starting lineup, now I go, oh, all right. I'm like, what is this? The Twilight Zone?
I love how long it took you to get it.
I didn't get it until you said now. I'm like, man, I'm listening to the Twilight Zone. What the hell's going on?
It still throws me when I hear from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Kobe White. Like, all right.
Not quite the same.
The other one they do now, and you're doing too many. Start calling out colleges again, or call out Hinsdale where he's from.
Right.
From Chicago. That's Derrick Rose.
Right.
That should only be Derrick Rose. Modest Buzelis. Wait a minute now. Hold on now. He was in Hinsdale.
From Thornwood High School. His feet never left the floor. Eddie Curry.
Don't do him like that.
Why?
The playoff Chicago Bulls.
I watched him play at Dirksen when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Dirksen grade school in Cayman City over there. And we come in for the men's league, and he was out there at open gym. He was just kind of working on his craft, working on his game. And they said he was going to Thornwood. So, you look at him, he's a young player. Boom, he's exuberant. He's having fun. He's having a ball. And they said he was going to be the next big thing that came out of Chicago. And he was, right?
He was.
In
theory. It did not pan out. Eddie had some nice years, though. Eddie had a couple of 18
Who had a better
point
career
per game years.
Eddie Curry or the big fella out of Eastern Illinois that went to Thornridge? Kevin Duckworth. You remember the Duck? Came out of Eastern. Who had a better career? Eddie Curry or Kevin Duckworth?
Kevin Duckworth had a longer career. I think Eddie Curry's highs may have been higher.
I don't know.
I think Eddie Curry's highs may have been higher because
maybe his weight might have been higher.
Last year with the
might have been higher than Kevin Duckworth, but I don't know if his numbers were ever higher.
Remember that last year with the Bulls? He finally decided I'm going to be a good basketball player, and then had a season with the Knicks, and then it was over.
I watched him warm up one day at the United Center. We were down on the court because me and Harry were going to be in those inflatable balls. We're doing the human gerbil.
No ACLs were torn in the making of this.
No ACLs, but lungs were burned.
Poor Bastage in Atlanta down there.
He's out in pregame. Now, you've seen guys that I've watched Kyle Korver do pregame.
Yeah,
impressive. He had his shoes untied. He's on the court as a professional basketball player in the official pregame.
Yeah,
not the dick around pregame.
Yeah.
His official pregame. His shoes are untied. What do you think that says to the whole world when you look at that?
You're not ready to work.
You're not ready to work.
Not ready to work.
You think if MJF was there, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and one of his teammates came out and didn't have his shoes tied, you think that would have been allowed?
Probably not.
Hell no.
Probably not.
Hell no. But they put up with that crap. And they put up with that shit.
That was
part of the problem.
That was a big part of the problem.
You got to hold a young player needs to be held accountable. And you don't walk out on the floor with your shoes untied. It doesn't work that way.
Who would have thought we got Bulls talk?
That was disgraceful.
Danny's going to be furious.
All right, I got to go. I got a meeting.
All right, good kid. We appreciate you coming on the show. Appreciate you taking the time out. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. As always, for the good kid, it's your boy, Pat the Designer. Back at it again. Y'all stay
2.5 stars.
2.5 stars. Better. One love. Peace.